Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the public lecture with topic Civil Service Policy and Innovation in Korea. It will be presented by Professor Sung-Min Park from Graduate School of Governance, Sungkyunkwan University. Before we start, let us thank to God for the opportunity given to be present in this afternoon. Okay, I'm Violeta Sindarinda as your Master of Ceremony. Honorable to our Professor Sung-Min Park from Sungkyunkwan University. Honorable to our Dean of the Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia, Professor Eko Prasojo, Master of Public Administration, and all of Vice Deans. Honorable to our managers from Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. Honorable for Head of each department in Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. Honorable to our lecturers, students, and other participants. In this occasion, we will hear public lecture from Professor Sung-Min Park, Graduate School of Governance, Sungkyunkwan University, South Korea. This event is one form of cooperation between Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia, and Sungkyunkwan University. It is expected that collaboration between the two universities will work well and can be strengthened the relationship between the two universities. The next session will be a welcoming speech delivered by our Dean, Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. For Professor Eko Prasojo, please come to the stage.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, students. Saya Professor Sung-Min Park. This is unintended plan actually that I have to give a speech. But welcome to our university, Professor Parks. I think this is one of our part of our collaborations between University of Indonesia and Sungkyunkwan University. So I think since 3 years ago we elaborate some cooperations in research, executive diploma program, and also double degree between our faculty and Graduate School of Governance, Sungkyunkwan University. On behalf of the faculty members, I would like to thank to you to come and to share your experience in reforming public service, civil service reform in Korea. So, dear students, I think civil service reform in Indonesia is following the reform that had been conducted in Korea in public sector reform as well as in civil service reforms. So now we are going to listen directly from Professor Parks about the civil service reform and innovations in the Korea system. Again, thank you very much, Professor Park. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you to our Dean. The next session is public lecture will be guided by a moderator, Dr. Wisnu Juwono. Is a lecturer in Public Administration, Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. And he got his doctoral of philosophy degree, PhD, from LSE, London School of Economics and Political Science, London, United Kingdom. And he is also as coordinator of International Office, Faculty of Administrative Science, Universitas Indonesia. To Dr. Wisnu, please come to the stage.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So we are very privileged to have Professor Sungin Park because he has just been promoted to be a full professor last year, right? September. So it's fresh from the oven. So as you know, his expertise is in public human resource development, and he is working closely with Ministry of Personal Affairs in Korea, personal management in Korea. So he has both the academic and practical experience in knowing and knowledge about the civil service reform in South Korea. So we're very privileged to have you here, and we're looking forward to have your lecture. So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a great honor to present my material to you. My name is Sungmin Park from Sungkyunkwan University. I'm here to discuss things about Korean Foundation e-learning program, which was established between UI and SKKU years ago. And as of today, I would say that that program is very successfully run and managed thanks to your faculty members and our students here. So again, please accept my great appreciation to you, each of you in this auditorium. And I have given an hour to discuss the civil service reform in Korea, so which means I don't have enough time to discuss every single part of the reform in Korea. So let me briefly introduce some part of this reform process and result based upon the slide. The title is Civil Service Policy Innovation in Korea, but the thing is, why don't you try to think about civil service policy and innovation in Indonesia? Okay? Which means we have a lot of commonalities and similarities and common interests between two countries, whereas we have some differences as well. But I'm looking very forward that drawing upon those materials, please remind that yes, in Indonesian context, we are geared toward having those conditions, those direction, those strategies, and those goals. So please consider those issues into your own context. That is one of the beauty of comparative studies between across the countries. So hopefully you can do that. Okay, this is me. Okay, it's autumn season in Korea, so maybe the yellow leaves are really exotic to you. So it's autumn season, and I have a certain background about public administration, and I was serving in some directors within the SKKU, especially I'm very involved with the Center for Public HRD and Center for Teaching and Learning. So I want to closely looking at some possible interaction between the student and faculty members at SKKU. And yes, would you please go ahead? Okay. We have three main segments and main themes about civil service policy innovation in Korea, but for the sake of saving our time, let me get into the third section at first. Would you please go into the third section, the roadmap section, in the last part of the section? 1, 2, 3, three sections, third section. the first section is the history of the Korean civil service. The second section is the current situation, the current position of the Korean civil service. And the last one is roadmap to innovation. Where if you take a look at the slide, we have to diagnose what kind of conditions, what kind of the current situation. And that is one of the important starting points if you really want to get started with specific innovative reforms. So that is why I would like to open this file to you at first. And just think of yourself and think of your context in Indonesia or your agency or any other academic situation. What kind of negative things are surrounding you? What kind of weaknesses are really emerging in terms of innovating, in terms of changing or reforming some specific policies and systems or even cultures? So that is why I want to address at first what conditions you are in right now and what are the most compelling issues, what are the most emerging issues, especially from the negative point of view. So I would like to mention, I will think about this first, okay? And usually, SWOT, strengths, weakness, opportunities, threats. SWOT analysis is very optimistic, very helpful to address those issues. And whenever you think about the roadmap to HR innovation or any direction to innovation, please seriously consider any possible answer to current situation or environment. For example, in Korea, we have observed that, especially in the public sector, when it comes to the trust and confidence level, we observe that the level is going down. Especially the citizens do not positively believe that our public employees are very well willing to serve as an agent to cast the reform. So we have very low confidence toward the public employees and public servants. That is one bad negative condition for reforms and innovation right now in Korea. It's very important because we do not have full of support toward the government reform. Even though we have very good systems, we have very smart-driven systems and skills, but trust level for the citizens, for the employees, are not so much positive or optimistic. So that is one single bad condition for the innovation. What else? What else? For example, can you give your voices, especially from the Indonesian context? What possible shortcomings or weaknesses for the innovation and reform, especially in the public sector? How do you observe some specific conditions for that? Corruptions, yes, corruptive behaviors, corruption, the level of corruptions, yes, it can be one of the challenging issues in every single country, right? What else? What kind of weaknesses you can observe? Lack of skills for managing people, or lack of skills in the in works or in jobs, communication skills, management skills, or leadership skills. Any kind of skills can be possibly challenging, right? And leadership, yeah, sure, leadership is always top tier present to be problematic. So in every single matter, leadership could be important. And when it comes back to the Korean context, we have a idiosyncratic, very peculiar conditions like the birth rate. Birth rate is very low, and the aging society is one of the very problematic issues. And the more voices for consideration for socially disadvantaged people are getting higher. It's really louder, and we have to consider more seriously the disadvantaged people in terms of money, in terms of any kind of societal status. So that is one possible condition for that. And unfortunately, different from Indonesia, we have a very stagnant situation in terms of economic conditions. We are very very low rate for economic growth, which means that we don't have any chance to make more jobs and create more jobs for the younger generation like you. So voices from the younger generation is very negative for the government sector. So that is one possible environment for that. And the fourth industrial revolution is, very well, so fourth industrial revolution. And it's a very emerging intervention toward our public sector as well. So when it comes to think about, the fourth revolution, maybe some skills, knowledge, abilities can be merged into the section of the civil service. It's a very challenging and tough issue as well. And to respond or prepare those voices, we have to make a very innovative and very aggressive roadmap toward innovation. And that is one possible challenging issue here for the preparation for the fourth industrial revolution. And maybe you are in the same boat, I think, in Indonesian context. You may have seen the same issues from point of view. Okay. And yes, I want to introduce one possible example to make a roadmap. So this is a draft, and I'm in one team to work with Ministry of Personnel Management, and we are proposing some roadmaps, HR innovation roadmaps, and this is kind of draft, so it's not necessarily kind of one single finished work right now, but still we are developing some part of the roadmap. A main framework of this diagram is we have to converge and merge in some portion of the upper level and lower level and middle level. All things work together. We anticipate that upper level, middle levels, lower levels should be merged into one. For example, changing policy environment and national philosophy and national indicators should be upper level. As far as the Professor Echo has a lot of expertise in designing those macro level indicators and themes. And then in the middle level, HR innovation vision and mission. And we have to strategically connect those vision and mission with the national policy environment and indicators. It's very important because many failure cases in certain countries, we observe that those connection is malfunction. It doesn't work very well. The upper level is going well, middle level is going well, but connection between high, low is not working very well. Then it's a malfunction. It's disorder. So the connection between these two themes are very important. And the low level, in the more micro level, is directions, promotion directions. We have at least 5, or Indonesia, 7, 10, 11, 12. You may develop a number of different promotion directions, and you have to design one specific theme or directions based upon HR innovation mission, right? So it's up to you. It's up to designer of innovation, and we have to accommodate those philosophies and those flavors into these sections. Okay? And those micro level, if those micro level directions were successful, then you have to consider all of the things with implementation system and evaluation system. On the basis of those two main systems, we have to regularly check or double check whether you are on the right track, right? Those implementation and evaluation system, one of the big thing, pillar to sustain those missions and goals and strategies in the upper and lower middle level. And if something has happened, or if you think that something should be done in a different ways, we have to get strategies for management to change management. We have to devise change management as well. So all in all, I think it should work together, and the kind of machinery are robot. I think they should be done very efficiently and effectively. So these are kind of direct model, but I hope you could accept this model in a more Indonesian perspective. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that sooner or later we are gonna talk about this model or revised model with our Indonesian colleagues. Okay, and we put the numbers and we put some targets, some words here, and it's more the maps. And right now, let me briefly introduce some brand new themes of this regime of Moon Jae-in administration. Actually, the Moon Jae-in administration in Korea was born 2 years ago, and was very popular at the time, but it's losing some popularity right now. But still, we have a lot of the justification to support this regime because of very important public policies. The first one is deliberative democracy, which is called in Korean 숙의 민주주의. It's a very difficult name. Deliberative democracy, and delivering the democracy means we have to consider some dialogue or multi-dimensional dialogue channels, including so many different stakeholders in society. In Korea, actually, unfortunately, we have adopted very top-down strategies to develop our economy and political progress. That is why right now, actually, we have a bright side and dark side. For example, to resolve some social issues, we are very rapid. We are very rapid, but sometimes we do not hear any voices from the minority portions. We are going through very fastly, but we do not look at back what other people thought about this agenda or policies. So the deliberative democracy is more emerging and more pronounced right now, which means we have to consider any kind of different voices simultaneously, even though it takes a lot of time. So this philosophy, this post-MPN philosophy, is core part of the civil service reform and innovation in the public sector. So, for example, gender issues. We have a lot of the shortcomings to invite female employees beforehand. So, especially in the upper level, at the managerial level, we have very few female managers and directors. we want to renovate, we want to revamp this phenomenon and using this philosophy, deliberative democracy. So, for example, integrating the opinions of the various parties, including minorities, gender, females, or disabled person, or the low income status people, we have to consider this very actively and try to get these voices into the real policy formulation and implementation. So that is one of the important philosophical background. The second one is, yes, as you know, this is a more cutting edge and brand new revolutionary philosophical background for adopting any kind of public policy in the public sector. And as far as I know, Indonesian government is also actively involved with the revolution or revolutionary policy making process using smart work or using e-HRM or e-communication or e-governmental systems, whatever you want. We have to get more efficiency and effectiveness through the fourth industrial revolutionary conditions. And it is very interesting because if you compare the first one, the deliberative democracy and the revolution, it's pretty much contradictory, very different. The first one is, very slow and listen, and the most post-MPM approach, and more dialogue, or justice, or equity, democracy. However, on the other hand, this is more new public management, efficiency, customer-driven, skill-driven. It's pretty much different, right? Which means it's really hard to accommodate those two different philosophies together. And maybe our younger generation in this auditorium, as far as I know, you are very smart. You may consider what are the best solutions to accommodate those two different backgrounds, two different philosophies. So, as a policy implementation expert, I also think about this seriously, how to accommodate this part, and what is the best way to delve into those combination between number one and number two. And please never forget of the fourth industrial revolution conditions in the public sector. Okay? For example, EHRM, E-condition, or smart-driven work system is part of this section. Okay? And okay, the third one. Yes, again, social values is related to the first one, deliberative democracy, but this is more like a social-driven philosophy. This Moon Jae-in administration is more like the more progressive than conservative, and they are really trying to accommodate more social and justice-driven approach. That's why the administration really emphasizes social values. If you take a look at the social values, quote, value that can contribute to public interest and the environment of community in all areas, which means all the community stakeholders should be invited to give voices toward the public sector, public policy making process. And especially in the first line, labor management perspective, wow, we have very, very hard condition. Our unions, public sector unions are getting stronger. Their voices are very stronger than the others. And they really want to propose very, very aggressive policies toward the management side. And it is very challenging issues how to accommodate those voices. However, from the social value perspective, we have to do something to visual, labor management relations more constructive. And if you take a look at this, the third one, to implement balanced personnel without discrimination is balanced personnel policies, including the gender, disabled, and the regions, and some majors. And we do not have to discriminate on the basis of the some characteristics, and leading to spread social values in civil service. We have to change the culture. We have to change the perspectives and the process of thinking, and we could accommodate social values more seriously. That is one possible answers. And balanced personnel is again the local talent, majors, women, or disabled. Maybe the Indonesian government may have same goals and visions how to get more efficient and effective personnel policies in the public sector. Maybe later I can get more recommendations and advice from your point of view. So anyway, I want to emphasize that in Korea is the top tier agenda to get a more effective balanced personnel system in the public sector. Okay, the number 5 is a rolling plan. In order to get a more innovative roadmap toward the civil service reform, and I strongly propose that the rolling plan is very important, very effective, and maybe it's a very crucial factor to make things successful. Okay. So rolling plan to be implemented with a 5-year cycle, and especially in the MPM, Ministry of the Public Personnel Management, we are using this cycle very frequently and very practically, which means that in every single policy, in every single directions, we have to get the rolling plan. So roll the plan. So we have to look at some different angles, and in every single 5 years, we have to evaluate, assess what is going on or what has been done beforehand. And we have to decide whether this plan is sustainable, survivable, or we have to stop right now. So 5-year cycle or 30-year cycle, whatever you want, the thing is we have to get a rolling plan. If something happens and some policies are implemented, that is not fair enough to stop. Right now, we have to go over and look at with some different diverse perspectives. Then your specific innovative policies will be more sustainable and more accountable because we have a rolling plan. Okay, and one of the very good beauty of the rolling plan is possibly to cope with the changing circumstances. Again, we are very, very fast changing environment in the public sector, Indonesia, right? For example, okay? And for example, I don't know, there are some Japanese here now. We have very, very worse scenario with Japan right now. It's a very, very bad condition. And those enforces can be intervened in their reforms. No one, right? And some conditions with some nations, some conditions with some other circumstances can be a major factor to change the rolling plan, for example. And it is possible to cope with the changing environment circumstances, for example. So whenever you think about something happen, you're going back to the rolling plan and see what possible alternatives or what possible plans can be prepared instead of having original plan. So a rolling plan can be a very transformative and very changeable. Okay? So I'm strongly propose that circling way of thinking is very, very important. And I know that I was told that the UI has some big data class, and some of you are very, very interested in the big data analysis. And in the same vein, in our Korean context, and especially in the SKKU, we have a number of classes based upon the big data set. And the big data skills, big data analysis, big data interpretation, big data speculations. So all of these are based on big data. And when it comes to the drawing on the innovative roadmap, I think it is very important preconditions to think about what possible streams and patterns surrounding you. It's very important, it doesn't matter. For example, if you take a look at keywords in newspapers, keyword magazines, a keyword in academia, you may capture some important big word, and you can graphically see what's going on, and just summarize those keywords and make your own brand new word or brand new sentence, and symbolize, yes, right now in the public sector, that or this is one of the key indicator, key factor to manage or lead future innovation in the public sector. At least those big data analysis can give a very good inspiration how to prepare in the next stage. So that is one possible solution to make your innovation roadmap more effective. For example, this is provided by SHRM, Society for HR Management. It's more like a business trend. However, we can get the same implication in the public sector. Just take a look at the keywords and innovator, agile, communication, performance, engagement, platform, talent development. So we have different buzzword inside the HRD. It's a kind of one single example. And when it comes to these keywords, you can say that yes, at least from the big data perspective, in the near future, platform can be a major factor to dominate your HRD functions, HRD systems, or HRD culture. And we have to prepare platform issues at least 3 years, and we can prepare the platform in the HRD functions and system. That is one key lesson from the big data analysis. And generation millennial like you or young generation, yes, Professor Juono and I talked with the millennial generation just a few hours ago, and one of the big, huge stakeholders to manage our public sector, and those millennials could be big leaders in Indonesia, right? And without any serious consideration of the millennials, it is a disaster, it is a failure of having innovative roadmap in the public sector. So at least we can get a lessons that yes, millennials should be important asset, stakeholders, and human capital, even the social capital in our context. So that is one important keyword. And innovation perspective, open innovation, or employee engagement, not only from the SHRM, but also from the HRM perspective, engagement is a very, very important topic right now in the public sector. So please think about this approach and the application, how to get connection between analysis, research, and the practical application. It doesn't matter too much. I think as far as you know. So don't forget, don't neglect the part of the big data analysis. And I hope you can get more interest than I for the part of the big data. So I'm very fast about this. Okay, so this is a kind of tentative visions and missions of the public sector in Korea, and trust and trustworthiness is one of the key important value, and the civil servant should be leading persons of the society, higher society, and we have 4 main segments like this. Maybe you could agree with those notions, and I think you have the same weight on those things. But Sungkyunkwan University is actually sponsored by Samsung company. It's a perfect combination between private sector and public sector. And at first we have worried a lot how to combine public and private. It works. Do you believe it works? And Samsung is the big conglomerate, and they are really want to generate a lot of benefits. Whereas Sungkyunkwan is a very traditional, Confucian-driven public university. How to combine, how to merge these things into one? So we have worried a lot about this for 10 years, but it works. It works. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know to what extent, but it works. The rank is going high, and do you know Sungkyunkwan scandal, by the way? Songjungi? Don't know the Songjungi? Songjungi is our graduate student. Sungkyunkwan. Coincidence, but yes, Sungkyunkwan scandal. We have very good scandal, and Samsung is very supportive, and rank is going higher and higher. So we have kind of successful story. Not so much as the UI, but the Sungkyunkwan is going on the right track. So anyway, when you think about innovation or innovative roadmap, sometimes we have to think about more paradoxical, more contradictory situation. And we don't have one side to fit all answer. Instead, we have very diverse answers. And sometimes it should be more entrepreneurial, more innovative, and more experimental. And some kind of failures or some kind of disasters may be a very good asset to get things better in the near future. And we know that those main pillars are not so much positive, especially from the policy making process perspective. But we know that those values are very important and crucial. And without any serious consideration of those issues, I think it is very hard to mention, name innovation roadmap in the public sector. Where again, it's a much broader, broader scheme of the roadmap to the innovation in the public sector or civil service reform. But hopefully, I can give more specific descriptions on the part on this civil service innovation, HR innovation. Okay, I have brought some key issues to ponder, and maybe it's more like the Q&A, and not necessarily think about these pondering issues, but I hope to get your feedbacks or questions or answers. Possible answers is better, way much better for me, and any criticisms as well is pretty much welcome. And the first one is Indonesian perspective or ASEAN perspective. What are the most compelling issues? Again, what are the most compelling negative issues to be resolved or solved right now? And especially from the HR perspective, you may have to point out, single out 1, 2, 3, 4 different segments of compelling issues in order to get advanced. So that is my first question. Do you like the cartoon? Very colorful. I bought this cartoon from Pressburg, about 100,000 won. It's $1,000. It's copyright here. I can give you it free. Anyway, I bought this cartoon. Second one is I have 3 Indonesian students in my class last semester, and I was very surprised that in Indonesian context, you have a very good collaboration. You have a very good successful story between corporation, public sector agencies, and private sector agencies. You have very good governance, right? So I do want to know how to make this happen. In Korea, we do not have a good condition for the collaboration between different segments. And that question is personnel systems, quality of the personnel among government, corporation, or even the multinational corporation, how to work together. And especially compare the quality of the personnel system or personnel capabilities. Do you see any parallel situation, or some sectors are way much better than the others? And how to think about those 3 different segments within the society? Do you see any very clever collaboration between 3 sectors, or otherwise governmental sectors are leading toward the innovation and the other sectors are following that? So in terms of personnel perspective, I want to know about this, but it's only the PPP issues, public-private partnership. The last one is training programs. I'm a director of the RCP HRD, so I'm a big fan of the HRD. I'm very, very positive about HRD influence and intervention. And what is the current status of the training programs for middle and high level government officials? Where I recognize that most of the people today are not officials, public officials. You are purely the full-time undergraduate students. So you do not know very well about middle, high training programs. But in Korea right now, that is one of the key issues. One of the key issues to nurture and produce best qualified middle or high level officials at upper level. And I want to know about this. Yes, I have a room in my schedule to attend a time management seminar. The day after I retire, which means I sick and tired of the seminar and training programs. It's kind of waste of time. So it's kind of reality in Korea. How to change and innovate our HRD programs. And there's some tips from Indonesian perspective. Okay, yes, I love to get this flag. And I did not pay anything about this flag important, but anyway, one of my best picture. And thank you so much for listening. Again, I have 4 of the slides over here, but thanks to the time limitation, I have to stop, and I have to spread the last part of my slide. How long?
It's already finished.
My time. I still time to start.
Okay, thank you so much for an excellent presentation. So, Professor Park has given a lot of insight about the HR personnel system, civil service reform initiatives. One is surprisingly is that the emphasis on the inclusion of the gender, as well as the middle and lower income people to include in the civil service system. So this is quite an insightful, I think, predicament in terms of South Korea civil service reform. And I think that it's also emphasizing on the public trust. Yeah? It seems that your presentations always keep emphasizing on the public trust. So I think that in the end, all the e-government, all the civil service reform is heading towards increasing and enhancing the public trust of the people towards the bureaucracy. So I guess we still have a question and answer session. This is a very valuable opportunity, especially for students, to give feedback, questions for Professor Park. Is there any questions? Yeah, okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Hesti. I'm a student from Social Psychology Indonesia University, the campus next door. Actually, when talking about the public service, we concern about the leadership issues here also in Indonesia. My question is about. We know that the first women president, Park Geun-hye, in South Korea, when she was turned down, the amazing thing for us is like it not really affect the civil public service system in Korea. Is that because you already have a very nice system, so when the leader is replaced, then it not affect the daily services in your country. Is that really like that, or is there any effect when there is such things like emergency settings? When the leader is replaced, is there any effect to the public service policy in South Korea? And also, the second thing I want to ask you is about the issues on minorities, like Muslims, and also like the war survivors that come immigrant to South Korea, and also like Southeast Asian immigrants who also Asians but different race from the South Koreans. We watch it in public because is there any public policies that manage to these immigrants' needs and also to those South Korean citizens' concerns? Thank you very much, Mr. Professor. Yeah.
So you want to answer directly the question, or do you want to compile two more questions?
I think I can briefly answer this question. Okay. The first one is yes. If you take a look at our systems, public sector personal systems. The first section, number one, will be the first part of this slide. Okay. Going down. Going down, please. Going down again. Okay, let me see. Okay, we have pyramid system. if you take a look at the minister and vice ministers and grade 1 and 2, it's more like political positions. For example, the President Park Geun-hye, former President Park Geun-hye went to the jail. Those people should be in jail. I'm kidding, but most of the people are the in charge, responsible for the behaviors of the president. They are more political position. However, grade 3 until 9, they are very secured from political intrusion. They are very separate. So they do not worry about anything about political, change and political intervention. So marriage system, we have talked about marriage system with the Western example. And marriage system may have bright side and dark side. The one of the bright side is to secure the system without any consideration of the political intrusion. So at least as far as I know, the marriage system can be it's good in Korea. So that is the reason why so it's a very sustainable and controlling process without serious issues, even if Park Geun-hye is in jail. And the other one is, yes, I think I have to emphasize another portion of the innovation in terms of multiculturalism. I do not include this part in our slide, but I'm very pretty sure in next year, multiculturalism as a reform agenda should be inside. And especially we have some issues in Yemen refugees in Jeju a lot, and there are some different voices regarding whether we have to accommodate those refugees in our society or not. So we have pros and cons, but maybe multiculturalism might be more pronounced as a reform agenda, and more Indonesian people and more the Chinese people could come to the in our public sector employee section. Sure.
Okay, is there any questions? Okay, over there. Please.
I have to remember your name and your face because
Yeah, please.
I have prepared my books. It's kind of a
So
small
please
time.
give your name.
Good afternoon, Professor Park. I just have a quick. Oh, my name is Ijal I'm an undergraduate student from public administration. I just have a quick question. You said that the core value of of Korea's HR innovation is deliberative democracy, right? It means in your slide before, because I couldn't hear you clearly, it says that taking into account and integrating the opinions of various stakeholders. Is it right?
Right.
Okay. My question is, how do you plan to integrate a lot of different opinions from different stakeholders into the how do you say, policy, into your policy? Because I think it's very hard to accommodate a lot of opinions into one policy, right? Because in Indonesia, we have one of the practices where there is bottom-up planning. Like in Indonesia, we have musrenbang, which is musrenbang in Indonesia, like development planning forum or something, right? And in that forum, the citizen can give their opinions to the public officials to plan something. Let's say in my neighborhood, okay, we don't have that much public lights, so I can give my opinion in that forum to the public officials, like, hey, we need a lot of lamps, okay, right? So, and that's just my opinion, right? And there are a lot of opinions from different stakeholders, and it's just, I think it's just that hard for the government to accommodate a lot of that opinions, right? So how do you plan to integrate those opinions, sir? Thank you.
Let me get this one more straightforward. Yes, at first we have to set up 공론화위원회, which is called Public Dialogue Committee. Public Dialogue Committee. Public Dialogue Committee means we have to invite some portions of each stakeholder. For example, regional people, public officials, politicians, and general citizens. We have to give some percentage of their portion. 10% from the citizens, 10% for the politician, 10% for the expert, 10% of the gender, 10% for the scholars. So we have to give a more numerical portion toward each segment of the society. And they are coming together in public dialogue committee in certain place, and we start to work together, talk together, discuss some special issues. For example, nuclear facilities are pretty much important issue right now in certain area because we want to abolish nuclear facilities in many sites, and some people want to abolish, whereas some people want to preserve, because there are some cost and benefits when it comes to abolishment. So we have to rejoin the public dialogue committee regarding the how to preserve, how to abolish these nuclear facilities, and it takes about 100 days. 100 days to get conclusion. It takes a lot of time, but we have a lot of justification from that committee because every single section of the society may give their voices. It takes a lot of time, but instead we have a justification. So I think one of the key conditions or precondition is to set up some expert-driven committee members. That is one possible solution for having this deliberative democracy more sustainable. So should be more formal, more systematic, and more committee driven. Okay.
Okay.
Last.
Huh? Last one. Okay. Do you have any one last questions? Okay, over there. Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, Professor Park. My name is Yusti. I'm from postgraduate program, Administration and Human Resource Development, University of Indonesia. My question is related for HR innovation. HR is so related with innovation in civil service, of course, right? I want to ask you about policy for disciplinary action. Can you explain the implementation of policy in Korea for disciplinary action, maybe such as drug abuse or tardiness?
I can hear you the last part of yours.
Maybe one of the case is a drug abuse for disciplinary action for drug abuse.
Drug abuse.
Misuse. Drugs, narcotic misuse. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
I was in the Las Vegas. Marijuana is legal, so I am very free to get the marijuana. So maybe the drug use is depends on the context. But thankfully, the cause of the religions or cultures or tradition in Korean society, we don't have any serious drug use. We don't have any cases of the having drugs in workplace, for example, especially in the public sector. They are loving dancing, but they're not doing the drug. But we have different types of the disciplinary actions towards some unintentional mistake or intentional misbehaviors or demanners. that is one of the key target to be disciplined. And I know that in Indonesian context, public employees are more secure than private sector employees, right? And even though you have disciplinary actions, maybe the weight on the actions are a little bit lower than things in the private sector. I mean, they are not so much fired or they are laid off because of the disciplinary action. Instead, we may have more penalties in promoting to a certain position. And the promotion, especially in the Korean system, is one of the key life issues. Without any promotion, we do not do anything. So promotion is one of the key goals and desire for the public employees. So one of the critical part of the disciplinary action is to eliminate any possibilities to be promoted in the upper position. That is one very visible action program. And the other one is yes, cutting down the incentives. Maybe you have the same fashion in Indonesia, so we don't have enough bonuses and incentives or any other intangible benefits as well. So actions are going on, but I do not explain this part in this session, but one of the key issues here is ethics, public ethics, ethical dimension. And if you take a look at the slide on first part, ethical dimension is more pronounced. And without, if you violate the ethical condition and standard, then maybe we have very strict disciplinary actions going on. So yes, that is very tough question, but it's very, very valuable issue right now for the Indonesian government public officials. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Sumi Park. So with this, I will close this public lecture. So again, thank you so much, Professor Sumi Park, coming all the way from Seoul, Jakarta, share your knowledge about the civil service system in Korea and its innovation policy. So we're really grateful, and I'm sure that all the students here are really grateful, and some of them actually students during the global e-learning program. So they would like to meet you after the session. So give an applause again to Professor Sumi Park.
Thank you so much.
And I will give this floor again to the MC. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the lecture from the Professor Sumi Park. That's very interesting topic because it can be useful for Indonesia to implement that, to do the public service reform and innovation also in Indonesia. Okay, the next session is exchanging token by the Dean Faculty of Administrative Science Universitas Indonesia for Professor Eko Prasojo to the Professor Sumi Park. Professor, please come to the stage. And this is also the session for take a picture together with Professor Sumi Park, with Professor Eko Prasojo and all the lecturers, and also the moderator, Dr. Wisnu, and Mas Ichan to our lectures.
So, dear students, we discussed with Professor Park that he offered to the students who would like to maybe stay or doing research in SKKU. I think we have a collaborative research with him, and if you want, you can apply for maybe stay for 1 month in SKKU to doing your research. Thank you very much.
ini dan buat ini